I just came back from Kaifeng, a real Chinese city that is about 3 hours drive from where I live. Y'all know that Where With Me is set in the Song Dynasty, and Kaifeng was the capital. I knew there will be some similarities in style, and I expect to see a few historical places, but I did not expect how many places would match the game this closely. Not just in style, but the exact layout, the exact buildings, and sometimes the exact building component, which is heaven for a building nerd like myself. So I started filming everything and matching them with the game one by one. So as you watch, see how many you recognize and tell me in the comment which one shocked you the most. Oh, by the way, I don't actually think the game copied Kaifeng. Kaifeng didn't copy the game either. What's really happening here is both of them are based on the exact same source. A lot of these designs came from the Song Dynasty paintings, especially along the river during the Qingming festival. This painting basically recorded how cities, streets, bridges, shops, and daily life looked back then. So modern parks, restorations, and the game itself are all rebuilding the same visual system. And the Song Dynasty was especially strong in visual culture. So it wasn't just one painting. There were city paintings, architectural drawings, daily life scenes, entertainment, animal shops, poetry, what have ya. Which is why even today we actually know very clearly what a Song Dynasty city looked like. Isn't that amazing? Now without further ado, let's go.
在这繁华意义的时刻，带来无尽。
让你的体验茉莉拍。啊，这个海捕令，这个游戏里面也有。哎呀！
抓拍的好机会呀，是吧？美好的回忆。
扎得很痛快呀！
暴富，我经常带着。不喝酒也不好头。啊，好棒啊！
This one actually made me laugh so hard because I even found a cat that looks exactly like this one in the game. It's got the exact same color, the same white paws, even the same little white patches on the chest. Tell me how that is possible.
小宝宝，冷不冷？就是什么新疆的那种衣服。哇！甚至美女看起来真有点新疆的那个感觉，是不？紫的，哇，这个好漂亮啊！这个。
So I visited the Velvet Shades Revelry Hall. You have to visit it at night, okay? It is so beautiful. So I checked, this is actually the historical place where the real Revelry Hall was. So the building was called Fanlo, which roughly translated to Revelry Hall, but it is like a place of prosperity and stuff. But historically, it used to sell alum, which in Chinese is also called fan. Later on, it became a grand hotel or a restaurant, and then later on, it became bigger and bigger. And in the end, it actually became what it is known as the Revelry Hall, which holds a lot of parties or a lot of really exclusive ceremonies or a lot of distinguished guests all over Kaifeng, even from some foreign places. So the game is actually showing the building in an accurate light.
这雀仙桥上的景致真好，看着泊船路上熙熙攘攘，真不知什么时候我也能去。
So this fish lantern is supposed to be like a legacy or heritage item. And this is why I really love this part. It's not just people watching culture. Everybody is a part of it because they invited all the people who are holding lantern to go into the queue and doing a parade with the actors. How cute was that?
哇！哇！啊！
I will have to say, if you are a fan of Fort Winds Meat, you have to come to the Kaifeng Prefecture because it is almost exactly the same as it is in game, and I was shocked to like how accurate everything is. So the Chinese words on it is like it's no joke to define a criminal and do not omit your crimes. So the actual prison looked a little bit gloomy, but if you actually been to the prison in Kaifeng, not the one that you go to, but the one that NPC goes to, it's almost exactly the same, down to the columns. And they also separate women and men. See? Like, it's so accurate.
Oh no!
Yes, look away, please. And this part I don't really need to explain, you just have to see for yourself. Even the inside looked almost exactly the same, down to the very details. Like, for example, the 3 beheaded stone and knives. Even the ceilings, they have very similar designs. See? Oh, 这是那个铡刀，就砍头的那个。
刚好了，对，这儿一条，那儿一条，上去刷。
I'm also shocked at how the sequence are exactly the same. The first one is a person, the last one is a dragon, and there were some eagles and lions and dogs in between. This is amazing, but I guess they have some cultural significance. I was standing in the tower and it's amazing. It's like going back to the Song Dynasty. I originally didn't want to climb up, but I did, and it was amazing. Their stairs are so small, but it is what I said before. A lot of these towers has like the top light and bottom heavy design, where like the top is so much smaller than the bottoms, so they have a sound structure. Oh, by the way, I did not know this before, but I guess these kind of design with like sticks and some red fabric made into flowers are actually some sort of billboards of the Song Dynasty, because there are so many different stores with similar designs, both in game and in that very famous painting. So I guess that is a trend back in the Song Dynasty. This is the Sun Yang Winery. To my surprise, I mean, like a lot of times, obviously, the recreation in real life is not gonna be as pretty as it is in the game. However, the Grand Imperial Temple is actually a lot smaller than the real thing. The thing in the game is actually just a tiny little temple with only 2 main buildings that has a Buddha sculptures in it, whereas the real thing actually has several different buildings with very different architecture. I will show you in a bit, but this one looks exactly the same. I do see this style in a lot of Chinese Buddhist temples. You will see similar build-up in Qinghe as well, because it is really prevalent in all of the Asian Chinese history. So upon entering, you will immediately feel like, oh my gosh, it's actually super spacious compared to in the game, because the game is actually quite crowded. But do understand that the game is trying to fit the entire Kaifeng as well as a part of other Henan provinces into the same map. So obviously you win some, you lose some, right? But you can see there are so many different Buddhas in the real life Grand Temple. So this building is amazing. If you're like me, one of the building nerds, you could actually break this down and try to build yourself a real temple. So this thing is really interesting where it has two-way structures. They have an outer layer to put all of the secondary Buddhas, and then they have a little tower inside of this. It just feels like more exclusive and it feels like extra safe. You know what I mean? But the Buddha itself is actually quite similar, but obviously the real life Buddha sculpture actually has more details with the arms. So yeah, after filming the footage in game, I was like, wait, couldn't you build that? That was like super cute. Like they only built two main buildings with some sort of ladders to reach the top, which by the way you couldn't even go without some serious jumping. But yeah, the overall temple feels really peaceful. They do have a lot of smaller trails, which is really chilling. Look at all that bamboo. You just want to jump and drop, don't you? So yeah, they only have that one with 1,000 arms and this one, which is also kind of a downgrade to the real one. Because first of all, they have three of the very golden structures, and then behind it, they have a million different Buddhas. See? A lot of them are actually from the Song Dynasty. So what's your excuse, devs? You should have made it more. But this one is pretty similar. Although, again, the real one is so much taller. And obviously, with every temple, there will be some cats just out there enjoying the praying and sunshine and soft pattings. This is one thing that I did not expect but learned to love about the city, because literally every show that you watch will ended up a dance party. And somehow this actually feels very Song Dynasty. Elegant on the surface, lively underneath, and everybody is welcome to join. Last but not least, obviously being me, I will talk about a lot of the building inspirations that I got. For example, this bus station. I built one in my own guild. Isn't it cute? I'm quite the genius. And here you can see a lot of people don't know, what is this? Why is it a table? It is a table for animals. And this tree. Look at that. Aren't they just cute? You see a lot of these display little stools in game as well. And yes, they are there from the Song Dynasty. This is quite cute as well. I didn't know they made the lanterns exactly according to history as well. This thing you see a lot in your estate buildings, and I'm just going to let you enjoy the setup. I think it's fair to say you can recreate almost anything from what you're seeing just with the building system in Warren's Me. And it shows like how freaking powerful the whole thing is. I think this is like a historical legacy because it looks old as fuck. And also this tower, you know, all of the components you can actually found already. Look at that red door, isn't that familiar?
这个木门
And
也是
look
跟
at
那
that
个蚂蚁
railings,
一样
isn't that familiar as well? And all the supporting columns and everything. Oh, later on they're gonna have huge screens like this, but before that you can just check out how huge they are. Also, because I'm making a video on roofs, aren't these looking familiar? A lot of the components are in the game, as I said, and look how beautiful everything turns out. Oh, by the way, these lanterns, do you remember we have that in the game as well? And this is a path to a boat ride that we did, which is amazing. And I just realized that in Song Dynasty, they do like these curtains that are made by straws. Oh yeah, something else that I really appreciate about Kaifeng is like everybody is super chill. So it doesn't matter like if you are inside of a theme park or like some actual historical legacy stuff, like nobody's there to make sure you don't break stuff, which I thought was pretty amazing because like I don't know, I feel like a lot of other maybe like forbidden cities and stuff, there are a million people watching you and they are going to cover a lot of things up and keep you at arm's length. But here you're just like free to go anywhere you want. So that is definitely a nice change of pace. So, do you like it? Would you want to visit Kaifeng? And which part actually shocked you? Thank you so much for watching. And as I said, they just out there let me beat up this bell that's probably 1,000 years old.